Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to be talking about Gwen Stefani and the artist's relationship with the people who receive their art, right? So I was watching, so basically I don't watch any of the late show, I don't watch any of the late night comedy shows because I go to bed. I work Monday through Friday, but I do watch them on YouTube. And so I recently started watching James from the Late Show. I'm sorry I don't know his last name. I just started watching his content, and I'm only watching one of his skits, right? And that skit is this carpool audio skit that he does. And what he does is he gets a pop music artist, and he picks them up in his car as he's driving to work, and then while he's driving to work with this artist, they sing along to the radio. So sometimes it's songs most of the time it's songs that artist did, but sometimes it's songs that artist might like, or things like that. So these skits are brilliant. They're they're really cool for a lot of ways. They're really fun to watch. They're really novel because you don't really get to see artists singing along with their own songs the way you would, just sing along in a car for joy. Really, really unusual, very fascinating skit overall. I think it's really cool skit type of skit. It's really brilliant of the Late Show to do this, James on the Late Show. Really fascinating. So I've watched a whole bunch of them. And but this one really made me stop and think. And there was this moment where, these skits are very funny and they're very frivolous, but I really felt there was this really deep meaning in one of them that I watched, and it was Gwen Stefani. So James is with Gwen Stefani, and and James makes another joke, and he says, "Hey, we need 4 to go in this HOV car lane in New York, so we got to pick up 2 more people." So he calls George Clooney, and then also they add Julia Roberts. So now you have James from the Late Show, you have Gwen Stefani, you have George Clooney, and you have Julia Roberts in the car. And they're all singing along to songs, right? Now, these are all Gwen Stefani songs. So I'm a big Gwen Stefani fan from her days in No Doubt. Really liked her music a lot. I think she's a really unique artist. And I was just really enjoying this skit, right? So they start singing along to Ain't No Holla Back Girl, right? And it's a great song, very, very good song, very, really interesting song. And so they start singing, and they all sing together, Ain't No Holla Back Girl. And James just kind of, hits the stop button on it. And George Clooney, kind of says from the back, he's like, no, I'm sorry, it was James. It was, he says, "What does that mean? I ain't no holla back girl," right? And one of the things that's really interesting is he asked this to lots and lots of artists, right? What does it mean? And a lot of times they'll answer him, right? Well, Gwen Stefani said, "Well, I know what it means, but I can't tell you. And the reason why is I don't want to take away from your interpretation of what that means." And I was just really stopped in my tracks. I was really kind of blown away. And the reason why is I feel that is the highest level of artistry, right? There are many, many great singers, great writers, great actors, right? All of that is brilliant, right? And there are a lot of people out there really putting down incredibly powerful art, right? But what happens, especially today, I don't think this has ever been more of a problem than it is today. But since we have this culture, this internet culture, where there's so many interviews and, just so many cameras on everybody and so many questions being thrown around, a lot of artists are asked, "What does your art mean?" Right? And a lot of artists just, answer, right? But I really, really I was really touched by Gwen Stefani's answer that, she was saying, I feel she was saying, I made this song and it has a meaning to me. But because it's art, and not a textbook and not nonfiction. You know what I mean? You are the listener, and you have something to say about what this means. It's not just about me. With art, it's the creator and it's the receiver, right? And it's the artist and the viewer, right? Or the reader, or or the player, or whatever form that receiver takes, right? Or the listener, right? And I thought this was really deep because, I feel that Gwen Stefani is an incredible artist. She is top-notch singer, top-notch musician, and she performs on a lot of different levels, right? But it really stopped me in my tracks to hear her say, the meaning of my art doesn't belong just to me. And I want to make sure that there's always room for the interpretations of my listeners, every listener, right? Because that song might mean XYZ to me, but to another listener, it could mean something really important. And to another listener beyond that, it could mean something really important and really different than what I believe or what that other listener believes. And that, to me, is an additional higher level of artistry that I really would like to see more artists start to embrace, right? Because there are times, especially within the last few years, where artists that I really enjoy their work have really put the kibosh on, things that, have answered questions for what did this mean? And when they answered that question, it just really slammed the door on a lot of things that people believed about characters, or people believed about songs, or people believed on movies, and it shut down conversation. And in my opinion, it shouldn't even shut down conversation, because if an artist didn't make something clear within their work, I'm not sure they have the right to say things, but I think they always belittle their own, beyond what is said in the art itself. But I feel it almost every single time. In fact, I've never seen an exception. When an artist tries to explain their art outside of that art piece, it always makes the piece of art smaller, and in my opinion, it makes that artist smaller. And so I just really was really impressed that, and I have to say, I really like Gwen Stefani, but I didn't expect to see, an additional level of artistry beyond, come from Gwen Stefani. She's just not, actually, she's clearly a deep person, and I think, I knew that from her music, but I didn't know the depths of Gwen Stefani, and it was just a surprise to find that there were depths, intellectual depths to Gwen Stefani that I did not expect. And I really think that James's Carpool Audio skits from the Late Late Show are just fantastic. Gwen Stefani has impressed me even more than her original art, her original music did. And I was just really delighted to see Gwen Stefani, say, hey, when I make a piece of art, the meaning of that doesn't just belong to me. And I thought that is really impressive. I really like to see it. Take care.